Kia ora everyone, and welcome back to episode 16 of City Skylines New Zealand. And before I get into what it is I get up to in this episode, I've got to quickly say that I know I sold you guys a little bit short with that last episode. It took a long time to put that line in and I never really got to make anything interesting, so I've tried to double down on this episode and really do something cool. So in episode 16 I'm installing the Auckland viaduct, where they've just held the recent America's Cup that New Zealand won, woohoo, and this was a really fun build. I've included it because I thought it might be, and it's just really interesting, and I've tried to keep it obviously as realistic as I can, but I've also tried to follow as closely as I can certain parts of the viaduct that I believe make it unique. So in other words, it's not a like for like build, but the main points of inspiration I've tried to nail down. And I decided to put it in this particular part of the city that you're looking at now because I can face it back towards downtown, and that would make for some great shots. And also the back side of this does two things. It lets a river out, the same river that we've got the bungee jump further up on, and the other thing it does is this provides a breakwater for the port on the other side of the harbour. And I've also got some big plans for the surrounding area here with various things that I'm going to do in the coming episodes. But I was so excited to make this viaduct area. I've had a crack at this once before in an earlier city that I made a couple of years ago, but now with much better mods and myself, I think my building has improved as well. I was really looking forward to giving this another crack, and I'm really pleased with how it comes out. So as you've seen there, I started by placing down roads where I wanted to create the actual inlet to the viaduct, and I used the roads because they snap to 90 degrees and all of that, and you can maintain a really nice square shape. Then that guarantees that anything we build off that, or everything gets built off that, is nice and square and true. And I really had to break this build down into segments because it was just overwhelming at the beginning how much needed to be done. So I just started with the basics, like the waterfront edge where it meets the viaduct basin, and putting decals down and just getting that right first. I also noticed there was some steps going down, so it split level and comes down via some stairs as it gets closer to the water's edge. So I've included that as well because obviously I want to keep it as close as I can to the original, but I probably would have looked to have done something like this anyway because it makes the edge of the waterfront look so much more interesting. So the next part that I move on to here is like this little island bit here that's really cool. It's in the middle of the harbour, and I guess it just gives more area for boats to dock up, or maybe this is more of a private dock if you're, really wealthy or whatever, or a combination of the two. Whichever one it is, this was the most enjoyable part of this whole build for me, and the whole thing was amazing, don't get me wrong, but I really enjoyed making this little island. I tried to use a real road to begin with, and that sort of didn't work, so originally the plan was to have actual traffic driving along here, but I can't do it, or I probably could, but it'd take far too much work, so I've just made a fake road instead and put some prop cars out here. I noticed when looking down with Google Earth on the area that this middle island had these coloured stripes, and they were quite striking and quite bold and very plain to see. I still don't really know what they're for, so I'm hoping someone in the comments can tell me. I tried to do a little bit of research, but I couldn't find anything, and I'm sure it's a really straightforward explanation, so yeah, if anyone can answer that, just hit me up in the comments. So once I've finished doing the stripes, I can start putting the decals down on this little island, and this is the only part of both of these two islands where there is these decals. They're the same ones that we've used on the waterfront on the other side of the basin, and these are as close as I can find to the ones that are originally used in Auckland. They're a bit more of a geometrical pattern, those ones, but these are close enough. This little wee bridge here was so much fun to make, and I know I set myself a pretty lofty target by trying to make it all by hand, but I just couldn't find anything on the workshop anywhere close to what I needed, and if I did, it required more work to modify that than do what you see me doing here. So I've just used the Chateau Expressway concrete beam here and used good old PO and manipulated it, and yeah, made this really cool little bridge here. I've used a network surface for the actual road surface, and there's double-sided ones you can get now in the workshop, so you know, if I ever get a shot where the underside of the road is visible, then it won't just be completely invisible. You'll be able to see the actual bottom of the road, so those double-sided networks are really brilliant. So the rest of the bridge here, over on this side where I'm working now, sort of expands up and over the road, and it looks like there's a little, almost like a toll booth or a monitoring station above the road. So this bridge goes up, like I just mentioned, so that it can meet with that little wee room. And then I just proceed to make sure all of the areas are accessible, so I add some other buildings down on the ground and link them up with stairs and doors, so that yeah, all of it sort of looks like it could be used. I just want to touch on something pretty serious here for a second, if you guys don't mind, so just hear me out. I've just gotten wind in the last week that a very prominent YouTube creator within the City Skylines community is now stopping his YouTube channel, or stopping their YouTube channel from uploading any new stuff, because basically the negative comments they've received, which is, I mean, excuse my language, but it's just bullshit. I mean, you guys are going to know who this creator is, and they're absolutely amazing. They've inspired me, and now this has happened. So, you know, I'm pretty lucky here. I've got an amazing audience in you guys, and I don't get too much of that. But, you know, nobody deserves that, man. I don't know how you guys conduct yourself, or some people conduct themselves, but, you know, you just got these basic values of life that have to be met. You know, if you don't have anything to say that's nice, just don't say anything at all. You know, here in New Zealand, we have a real problem with suicide, teen suicide in particular, and a lot of it can be traced back to social media and bullying on social media, and you know, these comments that we put down, and I comment on channels as well, but you know, they've got to be positive, because we don't know what this person might be going through behind, you know, closed doors or whatever. And it really doesn't matter if you've got 4 subscribers or 4 million subscribers. Those comments that you write to these people, they read them, and you know, that just, yeah, I think we've got to be smarter, and we've just got to be better than that. And that doesn't mean that you can't tell someone that you didn't enjoy their build or didn't agree with a certain way that they did something, but just word it in a constructive way. Word it in a way where you know you've got respect for that creator because you just watched their video and you're asking an open-ended question rather than accusing them of something. And I really do apologize for this rant, guys, because I don't enjoy doing this type of thing, but this particular creator has had a massive influence on me, and if you can't tell, I'm very upset that they may have left us forever. So now that the two islands are finished in the middle, I can run a road out from this area to make it look like, you know, this road is connected to the actual road network, and I can run this around the back here and start placing down some hotels. And these are just residential buildings, but they're going to act as hotels, and these particular ones I've chosen look like the ones that are actually in the viaduct as well. I believe they're Smiles Beach Condo Pack on the Steam Workshop. I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure they are. And I pushed these right up and onto the waterfront that were created at the start of the episode so that it looks like they've got direct access out to the viaduct. And I leave this gap here on the corner because when we look down on the viaduct basin on Google Earth, there's almost like this checkered board style park area here, or plaza area here, and I had to include this because it looks pretty iconic. Again, I haven't really done too much research into what the area is all about or whatever, but it looks cool and interesting enough, so I put that in here as well. So now that we've got the buildings down and the basic shape of the harbour and waterfront, I can start detailing a little bit more here with some cafes and just trying to make this a real chilly, vibey area and a place where you'd want to come and sit down and have a coffee or a beer. And once this little area here is complete, I can carry on up the waterfront, finishing it off with benches, trees, bins and various little props and stuff like that. So the last bit of infrastructure to add in here is these large dock areas that create the breakwater at the mouth of the basin, and viewing this part on Google Earth has shown me that most of it is industrial. It looks like there's a few fishing boats here and lots of cars parked out on them and stuff, and yeah, more or less that sort of raw, dirty industrial look rather than the beautiful look we're going for in the basin. So that's what you see me do here. I place various sheds and stuff down, and I also try and create fake looking roads to give access to the cars that are parked in there. And you'll also see me put a few little props down as well, like crates and boxes and lengths of pipe and stuff like that. After that, you'll see me place down the piers, and I also spend a bit of time using PO to make like a ramp that goes down onto the piers, and it looks like it's a floating ramp so it can come up and down with the tides. And I've pushed the piers down to water level so it looks like they're floating, and then I can add in all the boats and stuff, and this is a really nice moment when it all comes together, and you'll see that very shortly. So the last thing to add in here is a pedestrian bridge, and in the real version of the viaduct basin, this is a little bit different to the bridge I make here because it allows it to be raised up in the middle, and obviously the sailboats and stuff can get out through here. So what I've done is I've made a slightly different version that fits into my basin, and I've done it this way so that I can use the PO modules function to actually make it move, and I was really happy with how this came out, and it just adds a bit of animation to the area. Thank you guys so much for watching episode 16, and I hope I've inspired you to go and create an awesome harbour in your city. I do apologise if this episode is out late. I have been asked to help out with another project that is massive and I'm super excited about, and it's taken a little bit of my time, but I'm back and I am working on the next episode already, and it is something very, very exciting. So I will see you guys then. If you liked the video, hit that thumb, subscribe if you don't, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.